Good afternoon or good morning. Today we are doing PO19. It's another power objective. I can divide fractions by fractions. We worked on adding and subtracting those fractions. We just multiplied fractions. Now we are dividing our fractions. This is our last objective in Unit 2. So we're wrapping up, making sure we're ready for our unit test. So we really need to understand how we're working with these fractions. So let's look at what we do for dividing fractions. With addition or subtraction, we know that we had to have common denominators. And the denominator stayed the same. So when you added or subtracted, the denominators stay the same. So adding and subtracting, you're doing basically the same thing, just a different operation. Multiplication, you can multiply straight across. So you multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators. So our final operation is division. And there are two ways to do it, neither of which involves division. So we're dividing, but we're not actually going to be dividing. Oh, crazy. So let's look at the way we're going to do this. One way is to convert it to multiplication. So this is the way I always learned how to do it. So this is the way my brain just automatically goes. Our first fraction stays the same. Then we're going to flip dividing to multiplying. And we're going to flip our second fraction to its, anybody know what it's called?
Improper.
No.
No, proper.
No.
Mixed numerators?
No.
Mixed.
Oh, it's not mixed.
Denominator?
Starts with an R.
Reduce.
No. Reciprocal.
Oh,
The reciprocal of a fraction is when you flip it. So 4/5 had 4 as our numerator, 5 as our denominator. The reciprocal now has 5 as our numerator, 4 as our denominator. So the reciprocal means we flip it. So we flip from dividing to multiplying. We flip our second fraction. And then we multiply going across. So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. What do I always have to do? Simplify. I can divide a 2 out. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So now let's look at 1/8 divided by 6/7. So I'm going to put my 1/8. What do I flip my dividing to, Ethan? What do I flip dividing to? Multiplying. What do I flip 6/7 to? Bennett? 7/6. I want its reciprocal. Multiply going across. 1 times 7 is 7. 8 times 6 is 48. I cannot simplify that anymore, so that is my answer. Now I have 9/10. First fraction stays the same. What do I flip dividing to, Matthew?
So when you first add a fraction, you make one fraction by adding a 1 to it, and then you flip it.
So my question was, what do I flip dividing to? Multiplication. Then you are absolutely correct. When we have a whole number, we want to put it over 1. Because remember, a whole number is 4 over 1. 1 divided by 1 goes into 4 times. So we absolutely do need to flip-flop. But we need to know what we're flipping. So a 4 just doesn't stay a 4. It's 4 over 1. So what is 4 over 1's reciprocal, James?
1/4.
1/4. Then we multiply going across. 9 times 1 is 9. 10 times 4 is 40. I cannot simplify that anymore, so it's 9 40ths. Nope, 40 doesn't, 3 doesn't go into 40 either. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So remember that dividing flips to multiplying. Last fraction flips to its reciprocal. There is another way to do it. We learned converting to multiplication in 5th grade. That was a long time ago. A lot of us were like, wait, what? Oh, it's kind of coming back. Kind of seems familiar. We did do it in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Convert cross multiplication. I don't know if you did it in 5th grade, because when I taught 5th grade, I did not teach this way, so I'm kind of excited for this. Jillian?
Don't you flip the first set of numbers? Like, let's just say for the 3/4 divided by 1/5. Don't you flip the cross reduce the it would be 4?
I'm going to show you the way that he explains it, and we'll see if it's the way that you're saying it. So we have 2/3 divided by 4/5. Instead of dividing, we're going to multiply going across.
Oh yes.
So 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 4 is 12. We can divide it by 2, and we get that 5, 6. No, you need to know it. So, next one, we have 1/8 divided by 6/7. We're going to change that to a multiplying, and instead of multiplying across, we're multiplying the cross products. So 1 times 7 is 7. 8 times 6 is 48. And our last one, 9/10 divided by 4/1. Change it to multiplying. And we get 9 times 1 is 9. 10 times 4 is 40. We get the same answer. The reason we go through different ways of doing math is because sometimes one way speaks to you more than another way. You go, oh, I get this way. It makes sense. So we practice doing multiple ways to see which one works well for us. I've never done cross multiplication with dividing fractions before. I think it's kind of cool. But because for all of the years of my life I've done converting to multiplication, that's what I always fall back on because that's what I know. So here's what we're going to do on our work. Let me scroll up. It says, for the first section, show how to divide the fractions with both cross products and converting to multiplication. There are 4 problems. We are going to do the first one together. The next 3, you're going to do it both ways. So whether or not it speaks to you, you're going to practice both ways. So let's look at that 3/4 divided by 1/5. Let's do it by converting it to multiplication. I have my first fraction stays the same. What's my next step? Melina?
Flip it to multiplication.
Yeah, I'm going to flip dividing to multiplication. So you should be doing this on your paper.
Oh, yeah.
What's my next step? Aiden?
Don't you switch the 5 and the 1?
I flip 1/5 to be 5/1. Now I can multiply going across. 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 1 is 4. I don't want to leave it improper. Mrs. Dawson doesn't like things improper in her school.
I like proper.
So I'm going to see how many times can I take 4 out of 15? 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12, so I can take it out 3 times. If 3 times 4 is 12, how many are left over, Isabel? 3. There are 3 left over, so my answer would be 3 3/4.
I would never use
So now we have to do it because it says both ways. Now we have to do it with our cross product. So I have 3/4 divided by 1/5. I'm going to change that to multiplying. And I'm going to multiply diagonally. So 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times 1 is 4. Doing the same math, make it proper. I get the same answer.
You don't put the 5 in the
Not on the second one. When we're doing it with the cross multiplication,
I have a question.
you go diagonally. Yes.
How would you get 3 on 4? Wait. How would you put 3 like, okay.
So
15 is above 4.
if we have 15, 4 can go into it 12 times, right? So 3 times 4, not 12 times, but 3
Oh,
times.
and then you
3 times 4. So if we did it long division wise. 4 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. 15 minus 12 gives me 3. So my 3 is my whole number. And there is 3 left over, so that's my new numerator.
Okay.
So yeah, it gets confusing when it's the same number, but that's where the two different numbers came from. Okay, so for the next 3 problems, you are going to do it on your own, both ways. Then it says now pick your favorite. And I went to Mr. Schultz and I said, great, they can say I like doing cross multiplication. There's no problems for them to do it. And he went, we're going to put some problems on there. So it's not just a big empty space for you not to practice your word. You're going to write these problems on. So 3/4 divided by 1/3. 4/5 divided by 3/4. 5/6 divided by 3 1/3. And then 5 divided by 2/3. What do we have to do if we have a mixed number? We know what to do with the 5. It's a whole number. We know to put that 1 under it. What do we do when we have that mixed number, 3 1/3? Taya? We make it improper. Multiply the denominator by the whole number, add that to your numerator. That's your new numerator. So don't forget with those mixed numbers, make it improper. You look confused, Matthew. Are you confused? Yep. So if we have 3 1/3, we want to make it improper. So we're going to multiply our denominator by our numerator. So 3 times 3 is 9. Then we add it.
So it'd be 10.
Yep. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1. My new fraction, my improper fraction, is 10/3. So you need to write in these problems. That is what we are correcting tomorrow. And then it says fill in the missing values to make each equation true. So you need to think of what fraction would you put in there to make it true. So let's think about when I was doing the answer key, I did the cross multiplying and it was super easy. 1 times what equals 8? Nora? 8. So you put an 8 here. Is that how I did it? Oh my goodness. That is not how I did it. Let me rethink this through. I flipped it. So I thought of it as 8/3. So if I had flipped it, doing that cross multiplying, that's where my brain always goes. I am not good with the cross multiplication. I like the converting it to multiplication. So I flipped my answer so I could work with it easier. 4 times what equals 8? 2. So then 1 times what equals 3?
3.
3. So if I look at that 1/4 divided by 2/3 equals 3/8. Then if you look at your cross multiplying, 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8. You really have to stop and think about these ones because it's not multiplying straight across. So stop and think about it. It's going to take a little bit of our brain power. Do we have questions on how to do that? Okay. So you are going to work quietly. To my friends that are at home, we hope you are well and hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.